for my keys, my car keys. I mean, but being real about it, I got a lot of stuff from my mama. When I started growing up and I realized, I said, wow. And I just recently realized it within the last 5 years, because I had my last breakdown was in 2014. That's when I realized that I had learned a lot of this stuff over the years from my environment. And you just have to take your time. When I would have racing thoughts, and I still have racing thoughts right now, I promise you right now. And it doesn't mean that I'm not normal. It means that this is just how I am. Just like my son or anybody else. It don't mean that we ain't people. It just means that we deal with things differently. Just like now, if you ask me to do a project with you, I'm going to come up with so many ideas. You're going to be like, what? Okay, yeah, this is good. That's why I told you, people who have been through that, we deal with a lot, but we know how to use it for the good. And that's what I'm trying to teach my son. And hopefully he'll get that lesson where he's going, that you can use this for good things. You don't have to lash out and be angry. You have to learn how to control your anger, because nobody else can do it but you. You're the only one that can do it. I don't care how much medication they give you. Medication cannot control your anger. You're the only one that can control your anger. I mean, that's facts right there. You're the only one that can do it. They can give you all the medication in the world, but if you don't actually sit there and change your behavior from the inside out, then even the medication will not work. And that's the thing with people with bipolar and schizophrenia and psychosis, is that you go through those moments of hallucinations where you hear voices and you talk. You may be talking to people that aren't there. Let me tell you a story about me on that. And it's not that you don't even know that you're doing it. It's just that sometimes you can't help it because you're so scared. Did you hear what I said? Because you're so scared. When I killed the fear, that's when I was able to go without medication. When I killed the fear. You are so scared on the inside. It may be that you're scared of what somebody's going to say or how people will respond to you. Or you may just be scared because you think that there's a monster, or that you're having nightmares, or that you keep seeing somebody get killed over and over and over. You know, all those thoughts run in your mind when you're trying to sleep and you can't rest. You can't rest because your mind is constantly dwelling on the negative things. I'm still going to walk around and see if I can't find where I located my keys while I'm talking. But your mind is constantly fixed on everything that is negative. I didn't know I had a problem with negativity until my little child said, "Mama, you are so negative." This little girl spoke up to me and talked to me about how negative I was. I never saw life in anything very negative. But going back to the suicide and suicidal tendencies and stuff like that, is that it's hot in this room. I don't got no air on in here. Is that it comes from not feeling the love within yourself. And most of the time, it's not even that people did you wrong. It's just how you feel. And it's hard to escape that feeling. It's hard to believe that your thoughts could be wrong. But, you know, the Bible teaches us don't really believe our minds. I had to learn all that. Whew. So, y'all, I am kind of like trying to... I may walk later on to help release some of my stress. Whew. Because I'm blowing a lot because I'm still sick and I haven't had time to tend to myself. So I'm blowing. Okay. In my favorite place. I've learned to call this place my home, the car. But, like I was saying, you can't be scared of the words. They are words, and this air feel good out here. They are words, and everybody goes through something in life. It's just that you're something that's different. And it's really hard to believe when you're going through those moments like that. I'm trying to see if I can remember some of it, because I'm going to be honest. My memory comes and goes on those situations, because I could black out and not really remember those things until 10, 15 years later. And that's what happened to me. As I was sitting talking to my son, that's when I remembered what happened to me in 98. And the thing I was going to say, because I didn't jump topics again, jump subjects, but it's okay. What I was going to say was that in 98, I was declared by the state because of my condition was so bad, and it had debilitated me so bad. And that's why, one reason why I don't care how people say how I talk or how I say words, because those very people who are laughing at how I talk or how I say words do not understand what I just came out of. My condition got so bad till my kids were basically with my mom and dad 24/7, and I would only get them for a limited period of time because the condition I was in, and I did recognize it, but I couldn't stop it, was so bad that they declared me mentally retarded. I was declared mentally retarded in 98, and I was declared permanently disabled in 1998. Yeah, Miss Coco sure was. I was declared mentally retarded. Let me tell you that. My reading IQ had dropped down so low. That was my reading IQ, just from being depressed and going through the schizophrenia. Everything that I ever knew had dropped down to a point zero. My eyesight had left, everything. And I did not feel human. When I was going back and forth to those meetings, I didn't feel human at all. I didn't really understand why I was there when I was going through disability and stuff. And they was like, well, we just need to go ahead and give you this. I was going to doctors. My health was really bad. And I'm telling y'all this for a reason. I'm going to get to that reason toward the end, because I don't want people to lose hope on those that are going through mental illness. I really don't. And when you hear my story in depth, and if I can find those papers, I can show you where I was declared mentally retarded in 1998. I did not graduate from high school. I got to what was labeled as the 9th grade, even though in my head I was still thinking I was in the 11th grade, because of my behavior was so bad. And when I tell you my behavior was so bad, I was violent in high school. I got kicked out of school the first day, and anybody that knows me, that went to school with me, knows how bad I was. You cannot really say anything to me. If you said something to me, I was violent. I didn't care. I didn't care about the risky behaviors. I didn't care about running up on a gun and all that stuff back then. But I do now. But back then, I didn't care. And it wasn't just my age. It was because I was going through so much emotionally, and through my head, the least little thing would pop me off. I didn't want to hear nothing from my mom and daddy. Who they? They couldn't tell me nothing. I didn't want to hear nothing from the principal. I looked at the principal and said, your breath stinks. Stop talking to me. I remember doing those things, but I couldn't stop it. I remember going home feeling horrible about doing those things, feeling horrible about fighting people. I felt bad. After I would do those things, I felt bad. And that was, those times when depression would kick in. I would go do this thing and get hyped up. And then when my energy would come down, I would feel really bad. Feel really bad about it. But I didn't get help for it. I just kept on living like that, and I lived in my relationships that same way. I was horrible. I was violent. Don't say nothing to me. I will pop you in your head with a glass bottle, anything. I was so violent. I was busted upside the head with glass bottles. I remember I got busted upside my head with two beer bottles. 40 ounces. And didn't feel a thing. The first time I didn't feel a thing. The second time it knocked me out, and I did feel that. I didn't feel it when it happened. I just know I got knocked out. When I came through, I was still on the ground. But, that just goes to show you how deep this thing is if you don't get help. That's what it is. You got to get help. Once I started, I don't know how I did it. How did I do it? How did I pull myself together? One person can make a difference in your life. One person. I forgot who that woman was, but I do know who she was. Hold up. I know exactly who she was. Because my condition had got so bad mentally, it started working on me physically. And I had a therapist, but it wasn't a mental health therapist. It was actually a therapist for my back, because when you start going through all this stuff, you do crazy things and you suffer the consequences later. What I had did, I picked the man up and slammed him. This is how aggressive, listen what I'm telling you. This is how aggressive I was. And this is where my strength was coming from, off an anger inside of me, not knowing why I was angry. I stayed angry all the time. Anyway, this man started talking to me. I ain't gonna call no names who he is. But I picked him up and I slammed him through a porch. I didn't feel none of that when I picked him up. He wasn't the only man I did like that. I picked up another man. And I mean, these people, like, the first guy I'm talking about, he probably was like around 230 pounds. The second guy I'm talking about, he was a fat dude. He was like 350 pounds, maybe more. I mean, I picked him up with no problem at all, and slammed him. Another incident, where my behavior was really risky. I remember cylinder blocks. I had cylinder blocks. I got charged with that, but the case got dismissed. I ain't gonna go into details on that, but the case got dismissed because of what happened in the situation. But I remember the cylinder blocks. I got so angry that a guy was doing something. He was doing something. He was jumping on one of my friends, and I got so angry, I picked up 2 cylinder blocks and busted some guys in the head with it. I didn't feel the weight of those blocks. When you like that, you don't feel anything. You just feel that aggression pushing you on to do whatever your mind is racing to do. It's like if you're thinking it, you're going to do it. That's what it's like. If I think it, I'm going to do it. And that's how that was. I was thinking it, and I did it. But what happened was, over the time, if you keep damaging your body, you're going to mess up some things. And I messed up my back. I had some discs messed up and moved out of place. And so the doctor sent me to the therapist. The therapist was a back specialist. And I did electric therapy and electric shock therapy down in my lower back. And I learned different exercises while in there. And different neck exercises. My neck had got damaged because I was doing so much. When I slammed that man, I landed on my knees, which shifted my spine and all that out of place. But you don't feel it while you're doing it. But it would be months later that it really took a toll on my body. Whenever my hyperness came down, like that next, 2 or 3 weeks later, when my hyper modes came down, I could feel all of that. And I'm trying to recall my thoughts, y'all, because when you ain't had sleep, you get tired too. You can't hardly halfway think. But that woman, I forgot what her name is, but I'm gonna tell you, she works at Montgomery Memorial Hospital in the rehabilitation center. I don't know if she's still there or not, but she had blonde hair. She would be talking to me. She'd be like, "Well, why are you so angry?" I said, "Because I don't like what they saying to me." She said, "Well, why do you go around them?" I said, I never thought that way before. Why do you go around them? If they make you angry, why do you go around them? I was like, wow. I mean, that was my wow moment right there. And as she was teaching me how to do the exercises, and I had to go like twice a week for 12 weeks, I went. And during each one of those experiences, I learned something deep.